expectations of 2 billion for the year. We see massive proliferation in connected devices outside of handsets, such as tablets and smartphones. Millions of connected devices in itself, right? Connected contacts, connected washer and dryers, connected onesies, actually, so you can see if your kid is still breathing at night. It's crazy. So these things are happening, but what's also happening is those trillions of transactions, right? Those connected transactions. It's really, really interesting and a completely different way of thinking about mobility. And again, the core of those things is your mobile device. That's what's powering these things. But this proliferation of the connected customer is interesting, but it's creating a problem, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. The second trend is this idea of decomposition of the mobile journey. What does that mean? Well, it means that there's not really a path to purchase anymore. There's no linear customer experience. If you look at this visual here, it represents it quite well, right? If you think about how a customer might interact or engage with your brand and then ultimately buy, my journey or my experience is very different than these guys, right? I might see a YouTube ad. I might go through my email. I might view it on my desktop, then my mobile, right? So those journeys are very distinct based on an individual. And it's not just limited to channels anymore, right? Now we have external influences. We have context. We have location. We have your social sharing networks. We have all of this data about individuals that we know, and it's creating a massive web of complexity. It's a problem, right? So we'll talk about that again in a second. And the third trend is fragmentation, right? So if you've been in the industry for long enough, you know that mobile has inherently been fragmented since the start, right? There's a number of OSs. There's a number of different software technologies and platforms. And if you look at this visual here, this is an actual representation of the Android ecosystem. So each colored box represents a handset ownership. So if you can see in the back, there's obviously a ton of different color boxes here, but the bigger the box, the greater the ownership. Lots of handsets out there from an Android perspective. This doesn't take into account iOS. It doesn't take into account BlackBerry, you name it.